See what they do with the critical theory. Hello, host Eric, talking with famous people. And economic, social, let's see. Since Luxemburg wrote, an increasing number of political economists have argued that the importance of a capitalist outside is not so much that of creating a new pool of customers or finding new resources. Rather, an outside is needed as a zone into which surplus capital can be invested. Economic and social crisis stems less from the problem of finding new consumers and more from that of finding, making, and exploiting zones of profitability for surplus capital. Developing outsides in this way is also a product of recurring crises, particularly those of declining economic profitability. These crises are all attempted by or are followed by attempted fixes in distinct geographic regions. The word fix is used here both literally and figuratively. On the one hand, capital is being physically invested in new regions. On the other, the attempt is to fix capitalism's crises. Regarding the latter, there are, of course, no absolute guarantees that such fixes will really correct an essentially unstable social and economic system. At best, they are short-term solutions. The kind of theory mentioned above also has clear implications for the humanization of the cosmos. Projects for colonization of outer space should be seen as an attempt to make new types of spatial fix, again in response to economic, social, and environmental crises on Earth. Outer space will be globalized, i.e. appended to Earth, with new parts of the cosmos being invested in by competing nations and companies. Military power will inevitably be made an integral part of this process, governments protecting the zones for which they are responsible. Some influential commenters argue that the current problem for capitalism is that there now is no outside. Capitalism is everywhere. Similarly, resistance capitalism is either everywhere or nowhere. But as suggested above, the humanization of the cosmos seriously questions these assertions. New spatial fixes are due to be opened up in the cosmos. Capitalism is emerging outside. At first, they will include artificial fixes. During the next 20 years, so blah, blah, blah. This stage would be set for wars in outer space, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it basically is saying outer space war is going to happen because of a combination of capitalism's need for a new frontier and the nature of states. This next one, though, says, from the longer view offered by the historical materialist critique of capitalism, the direction that would be taken by U.S. imperialism following the fall of the Soviet Union was never in doubt. Capitalism, by its very logic, is a globally expansive system. The contraction between its transnational economic aspirations and the fact that politically it remains rooted in particular nation-states is insurmountable for the system. Yet, ill-fated attempts by individual states to overcome this contradiction are just as much part of its fundamental logic. In present world circumstances, when one capitalist state has a virtual monopoly on the means of destruction, the temptation for that state to attempt to seize full spectrum dominance and to transform itself into the de facto global state governing the world economy is irresistible. The unprecedented dangers of this new global disorder are revealed in the twin cataclysms to which the world is heading, the outbreak of nuclear war and planetary ecological destruction. So, and this is proved by, symbolized by, I guess it says, the Bush administration's refusal to sign the Test Ban Treaty and by its failure to sign the Kyoto Protocol as the first step in controlling global warming. Okay, so that's two cards. There's more in this cap cave. It's all about how capitalism is terrible. Capitalism is a catastrophe for humanity. This card down here, Holloway 5. Because it becomes more and more clear that capitalism is a catastrophe for humanity. A radical change in the organization of society, that is, revolution, is more urgent than ever. And this revolution can only be world revolution if it is to be effective, but it is unlikely that world revolution can be achieved in a single blow. A revolution that occupies spaces in the world while capitalism still exists. The world is full of such rebellions of people saying no to capitalism. No, we shall not live our lives according to the dictates of capitalism. All right, what do you think? Are you
shall
sold?
live according to capitalism. I think capitalism is just an expansion of human nature. Capitalism is actually the free market capitalism is the lack of government oversight. So everyone's expressing their own desires and pursuing those unencumbered. They're maximizing their own utility. It creates competition. It creates ingenuity, creativity. Yeah, I mean,
But what
I
about
think
the corporations exploiting all the people?
that's just hot words.
I had somebody tell me the other day, do you know that GE General Electric pays almost nothing in taxes. He thought that they were stealing.
GE is probably more productive than he is also.
What do you think about the? Have you heard this expression before? Corporate welfare.
Yeah. Yep.
Usually, it refers to corporations getting tax breaks, right? But
Well, now they're applying it to, not paying their employees a living wage.
is that corporate welfare? I mean,
No, but I'm
is
hearing
that what
people.
they're saying now? They're saying now that if you're
I'm
a
hearing
company that doesn't pay a living wage, you're receiving corporate welfare.
vicariously because your employees are receiving food stamps.
Right. And it's your job to pay them enough for all their needs. Right?
And then when you get to the end of that conversation, where it stops is that people and labor is a commodity, but that's not a morally acceptable answer to them. So
Do you think it's changing? Do you think people are starting to think differently? Or is it the worse or better or just the same as always?
I think that people are getting more. Yeah, democracy by definition only works for so long until people start voting themselves prosperity from people from others. Um, I don't think it's getting better. If you look at this presidential election, you've got a socialist, someone under FBI investigation. Well, the socialist is gone now, and a reality TV star. If you
Right.
told me 8 years ago Donald Trump was going to be who I'm pulling for, so fuck you.
Okay, well, Unify says the following. He says there's a lack of oversight for corporations. I want to make sure you get his thoughts in here as well. And he says, additionally, that because in capitalism, the goal to anything is profit. What's in it for me? Greed. And then he points out,
Why doesn't anyone think that government is excluded from that? Government's more bloated. It never shrinks itself. It's got no uh, incentive to become more efficient, develop new processes. Government produces nothing.
it's true. But I guess Unify, you might say that you indicate that it requires oversight. I think that most of us can agree that there are certainly behaviors that corporations could engage in that ought to be uh, subject to legal sanctions. But I think that's a different thing than oversight. Like
Yeah.
there are
Well,
certain regulations need to be or laws need to be put in place to prevent certain bad things, but that's not oversight exactly.
it's crime. Is there a victim?
Right.
Did you create a victim? Not did you not improve their situation enough?
Yeah, I agree. Well, how do you
Is it
deal?
hard to make an episode with someone when you
How, how do you
agree?
do? I mean, it's rare. I don't usually agree quite so much with somebody as I agree with you. Um, how do you reconcile the following thing? Like, well, if we were to strictly apply what you're saying, we wouldn't have any building codes. We wouldn't have any health inspectors. Shouldn't we have those things?
No, because people still want to have a building that stands, and they still want to have a restaurant that people come back to. You have one person die at your restaurant. It's bad for business.
Right, but is that how we want to find out that restaurants are not the restaurant to go to because we've lost a loved
Same way,
one?
the same way that the health inspectors do, basically. It just creates more system. It increases your food prices. You're paying more money so that the guy who didn't pass the health inspection can pay off the health inspector.
Well, Unify points out correctly, not everybody's responsible like that. Not everybody's going to take care of their shit. Not everybody's going to have a clean kitchen. What do you think about that, Eric?
Uh, have you worked in a restaurant? I mean,
Oh, that's
they're
Franco. Sorry, Franco. That wasn't Unify who said that. That was Franco who said the not everyone parts. My bad. He says so. Not everyone's like what exactly? Not everyone's responsible to keep their kitchen clean.
yeah, but so why would a government regulator be?
Well, 'cause that's his job.
Well, that's the restaurant owner's job too.
But it's not. Unify might point out the restaurant owner's job is to make money.
Right. He's got employees, customer. I mean, you can't run a filthy restaurant without people finding out about it.
You
Sooner
know
or
what
later.
I usually
It's
do with
bad
the
for
health thing?
long-term sustainability of your business.
I agree with you. I like to say, well, I know you're right. Not everybody is like that. Do you know how many parents in this country probably feed their children food they've cooked in a filthy kitchen? We need to regulate not just restaurants. We need to regulate homes. At least ones with children in them. An inspector for every home, I say. And I go, well, no, you don't need to regulate homes. Well, why not? There's small children in there. My goodness, don't you care about the children?
I mean, those people have obviously not seen someone go through the system. I mean, they must not have a point of reference. I don't know how people can hold those views in day to day life. I don't address them.
You mean the view that you should have a health inspector?
No, no, no. The take it further. That they
No,
should go into every.
that's how I answer the health inspector question.
Okay. Um.
I say
So
if you
I
use
said what
that
I would
logic, we
do.
should inspect everyone's kitchen.
And I'm kind of playing devil's advocate too. I don't necessarily think that I don't know that I think that health inspectors are a bad idea. I'm okay with them.
I don't I,
um,
I don't think we need them at all. I
I
totally
don't
don't think
think
we
that
need
they
them.
do much. I don't think they do much for it. It's a placebo effect. I'm okay
I
with
mean,
that.
almost all of the restaurants I mean, almost all the kitchens I've eaten from in my entire life, or at least a majority of them, have been uninspected. And
Right.
anytime um, I got sick eating something, it's hard to say where you got sick eating it, but at least one of the times I know I got sick eating it in and out, and they had a health inspection. It's not gonna.
Country club.
I mean, it's just like first of all, the standards, the protocols that they have in place that are what you should do to keep your kitchen clean might be good suggestions, but are almost certainly not necessary to serve food safely.
Right. Well, and nobody, short of shutting down a business, nobody's going to know. Nobody checks that shit out before they go.
Even if I say that I'm wrong, that's the problem. We have businesses that have a big impact on changing laws. Why is that a problem? Well, just 'cause
Start with the first part of that question.
I don't understand that exactly. Not everyone is responsible. That's Franco. Okay, well, yeah, businesses have a big impact on changing laws, but well, I mean, the thing is,
Trade groups that represent a lot of people.
yeah,
Businesses employ a lot of people. They're just another organization. Corporations are organizations of people, no matter how scary the word is.
yeah. The thing is, every
No.
corporation, every corporation does nothing but hire people and then get people things that the people want, what people want. So they make
File
available for purchase stuff
individuals.
people want, and then they give other people jobs. That's what they do. Make money for people. They create wealth that didn't exist prior to them creating it. Some corporations with a position of a of a powerful entity that has money to spend choose to engage in more or less charitable behavior. Regardless, It's up to them, right? I mean, that's their choice.
Right.
Not Trump. He's wealthy. Well, I mean, I could point to a poor person in jail who
He only
kills
wants to try to
somebody
take.
and say he's poor and he's killed somebody, so poor people are bad. You know, I mean, just because Trump's wealthy and you don't like him doesn't mean all wealthy people are like Trump. All he does is fire people. Well, on the TV show anyway.
Hey, that's exactly who we need in government then.
I know exactly. That's exactly what we need. We need somebody who's a
We
hard
can
ass
fight
enough
him
to
for
go in
that
there and
cause.
say,
All I do is fire people. Vote.
look, actually, Eric, you can't fire people from government. That implies that they're doing a real job. What you have to
Well,
do is excise them like a cancer from the body of the nation.
they'll get severance for life. They'll be taken
severance,
care of.
severance for life. Yeah, like what do you mean $1,000 won't last you the rest of your life? You'll be plenty. You'll be fine. If you're working at the IRS and you lose your job,
What? What's that?
if you are working at the IRS and you lose your job, you get fired, the nation has benefited immensely from your departure from the workforce. And nobody should feel any sympathy for you because you've been a professional plunderer for a while now. And
Don't
you're
forget
lucky we don't make you walk the fucking plank. Okay, there are
Are you
money
looking?
making machines in this system so the employees might not benefit. Eric, thoughts?
What's money making machines? I zoned out.
Corporations. Corporations, right?
But what's the point of a machine? It's just a tool for people to use. A corporation is just the same. Just because people have trouble conceptualizing that the entity is a tool for people and not an actual malicious being itself.
Okay, but if the corporation,
The lower employees, if they're not getting paid enough, they can go. I mean, they might not have a better option, but that's not the corporation's responsibility to make the option for them. It's responsibility. It's the corporation's responsibility to take care of its current employees.
hey, Unify. About 10 years ago, I started on a skills development and work project, and I did a lot of work in the interim 10 years, and finally now I have a corporation called Autonomy Debate. And because of lots of work and lots of effort and being good at what I do, I am able to make more money than I was able to make when I was an employee. I now have some employees. Should they make the same amount of money as me? Or should I get to make more? Do I have to give them the same amount as I get? Okay, well, if we accept the fact that people get to benefit from their own labor, right? That if I work on something for 10 years, that most of the values in the company comes from me, and that I have a limited need for other people. To the extent that I was feeling like working hard, super hard, I could do most stuff by myself. I don't really need employees. Now I have employees, and I pay them some money. I pay them better than I pay them at minimum $20 an hour. But um, I wonder if the government might make a better decision than me about that. What do you think? Well, I said they're not absolutely necessary in the sense that I could do all the work myself. But like most business owners, I don't want to do all the work myself because I don't want to work myself to death, you know? Yeah, everybody says that. But then why should I somehow lose my humanity if my corporation becomes more successful? I mean, you grant me humanity because I'm a small business, and that doesn't count. But there's not any difference between a big business and a small business except more time. Businesses take
But
time to grow.
what is bigger and more powerful than a government? Not a fucking corporation. They're responsible to the government. The first thing you had to do is file articles of incorporation, right? To become a corporation, you had to get permission from the government.
Yeah, I would say bigger corporations have more influence on the government. I think that's unfortunate that the government has that much influence to buy. That's the problem, right?
That is the problem.
If the government weren't saying, "All right, look," if the government was like this, "Hey, we're over here on your farm. We're going to destroy this one stalk of wheat," the farmer would be like, "We're going to come back next year and destroy one more stalk of wheat." The farmer would be like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. Go ahead." But that's not what's happening. The government's saying, "Hey, look, guys, we've got $1 trillion to spend. Let's do some fucking damage." That's the problem. I mean, at that point, you got to go, oh, yeah. You know what I think? I am concerned about the role of plastic cups in this country. There are plastic cups where you go places, and those cups are bad. And what we need to do is make industries that produce plastic cups and plastic other things, and industries that produce objects that people buy. Those kind of awful corporations that make industries, they're polluting, and they are making objects, and they're exploiting people because they don't need those objects, and they're making them buy them with their advertising. Those kind of corporations just pay more. That's what I'm saying. That's what happens, right? If we want to try to distinguish between different corporations, like, well, you're cool, but you're not cool, but you're cool, you're not, for arbitrary reasons. I mean, people in general,
The
everybody.
Dodd-Frank Act is trying to do that now with the banking industry, and they can't freaking figure out what's a big bank and what's a small bank. And then is it a rural bank or an urban bank? I mean,
Right.
you just open the door for a million more questions. You can't cut things into that black and white chunks.
Yeah, I will say, at a certain point, the government's has to take some role in the banking industry in the following capacity, though, which is making sure that, like,
FDIC insurance, that it's
well, there's that, but it's
liable.
because of the fiat currency. There's all kinds of shit they got to do because of fiat currency. If we get switch over to Bitcoin or Darkcoin or something like that, government's toast. Nobody will buy their product. Who wants
Yeah,
to go
that's
buy a fucking car registration? Who wants to? Who wants that product? Eric, I'd like to sell you something. Would you like to purchase it? It's a piece of paper, and I'm going to throw in a colorful sticker with it. Special price for you today, $300. If you want it, you can put it on your car. Put the piece of paper in your glove compartment, and you put the sticker on your car. It's only $300. Who doesn't want that?
it's more coercive than that. For $300, you won't get pulled over and have to pay $500, and then get your license suspended and then go to jail.
Right, well, that's the truth.
Hmm.
But here's the other truth. You mean I paid $300 for this square of paper and this fucking sticker? I didn't want these things. I want to make them fucking tell me that. Oh, you have to have them. or will point guns at you. Why? Tell me that. Stop lying to me all the time.
From YouTube.
Let's see. From my standpoint, Franco says, I don't think companies really make products for people anymore. Rather, they're really good at telling people what they need. I mean, that's true. People do buy some shit they don't need, but I buy all kinds of random stuff, and very little of it's advertised. Like, I'll go to Big Lots or something. Hi. And I'll buy some random thing, you know? And so it's not even like stuff because it's advertised. It's just, oh, that thing looks neat.
That's exactly what I tried to tell you.
You talking to me or her?
It never will.
Okay. Always making machines don't hire as much. I know that there's this issue with jobs, okay? My position on it is, number one, stop preventing companies from hiring people. How do you prevent a company from hiring people? Take away some of their money. Companies, by and large, either invest money or hire more people if they
I don't see
have.
a solution to this complaint, though. Which is a recurring problem with people who don't like corporations or, you know, conservatively rich white man things. Is there's not a solution given. What just hit you?
Oh, that's a moth.
Oh,
It
okay.
didn't hit me though. It just got close to me. Um, it's
It
called
looked really big.
it's called problem admiration and mistaking inherency for a plan.
Right.
Problem admiration says, "Hey, look, this problem's really, really big. We got to do something." That's called
Um.
establishing inherency. That's not a course of action. So anyway, I am in agreement with you, Eric, about apparently absolutely everything. I don't know. I'm sure we could at some point find something to disagree about. I don't. I don't dislike guns, but I don't have any guns. That's not really a disagreement. It's a difference. But um,
You live in California,
yeah, same. Thing.
so
Oh, Unify is talking about shipping jobs overseas, but
well, if everyone here didn't need so much shit that they don't really need, they think they need because they're getting advertised to by corporations who run the government. So the government needs to step in and resolve the corporations.
first of all, the corporation, there's a good chance Unify is going to go out of business if it doesn't move overseas. Very good chance.
Do
Why?
you
Well, because they can't afford to pay a living wage.
over in
Why do
here?
you say nope? Why would you say nope when I say there's a very good chance the corporation will go out of business if they're forbidden from going overseas? Because they still have to compete against overseas products. They got to compete against products made in China. Why would they be able to successfully compete having to charge 10 times as much because American labor costs so much?
ESFJ.
I don't know, but okay, well, even if it's not our decision what some other person does with their assets, their money, their corporate interests, or whatever else. And how could it possibly be? We mistakenly believe that corporations are somehow getting a part of the money supply. They are creating part of the money supply. Well, yeah, they do profit off cheap labor. The only way we're going to ever get rid of this cheap labor thing is if we allow labor to have the same mobility as other aspects of the economy. You have a problem with cheap labor. I have a problem with labor in general in terms of an employee thing for a long term. And people are being trained to be employees for their entire lives and never told that you should only be an employee as an apprentice to learn something that will allow you to begin entrepreneurship. and move away from employeehood and to owning your own business. You should be explained to you early in life that wealth comes from the application of labor to a resource. And if you do not own that resource, you do not own any of the profit from that resource and can make no claim upon it. It should be the first thing taught to people when they pop out the fucking womb.
They own their labor. That's
right.
Their commodity.
Good. Welcome to Earth. You own your fucking labor. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Here, do you want this?
Yeah.
Not me. We're not him. We're both Eric. I'm regular Eric. He's just Eric. You know, he's Taylor. How many times have I called you Eric? A million?
Every time.
Every fucking time. There was an Eric here earlier. I thought maybe, or maybe I just thought I was talking to myself. I don't know. I think a practical example is GM moved the factory out of Flint. Yeah, the problem is that we tried to prevent it at all. As soon as it became obvious that the car industry was not doing well there, the corporation should have fired all those people, liquidated those assets, and gone and invested in some other part of the economy that's more flexible and that can actually produce results. Because we can't care the fact that, oh no, that family of bunnies got eaten because the wolf ate them. And then go kill all the wolves. Then you have fucking bunnies everywhere. And if you kill all the bunnies, you have no wolves either. So just leave the fucking forest alone.
This guy can't figure out a webcam on a tablet.
It's a fucked up tablet. I still didn't.
Okay. Well, guys, here's the thing. I'm going to have to call it a night because I am leaving for Salt Lake City tomorrow for the national tournament. I'm excited about it. And we're leaving tomorrow night. I got to drive an all-nighter tomorrow night to get up to Salt Lake City. We've got a 10-hour thing. So I'm going to have to go to sleep here and try to get in some Z's because I got to be driving. But thank you all very much for participating and for being here. And I hope, as always, to see anybody come back again if they enjoyed it. Taylor, not Eric, Taylor is your name. You and I got the same script, copied the same script somehow politically. I don't know. I guess when they were handing out the 2 copies of it, plus they gave one to you, one to me, and a few of the people of Reason magazine, and then they ran out of them or something. I don't know.
We both got a competitive advantage. We're both right about shit. So
see, that's the thing. If you just make your decisions based on what's correct, you end up in the same spot, right?
Right. Then you don't need a script because everything's just laid out for you.
We just execute the algorithm. Eliminate the wrong shit. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.